What's up, beautiful people? If you follow my social media channels, you might have noticed that I bought this Prusa 3D printer. And one nice little addition to the printer is a so-called Octoprint or Octopi web server running on a Raspberry Pi, where you can monitor the print progress. And for that purpose, you can also use a little camera attached to the Raspberry. And today I want to show you how you can install a nice little case for this specific camera so that you do not have to deal with this wild installation like this. Let's head over to the bench. All right, the first thing we do is replace this short ribbon cable from the camera with a longer version, and I bought from AC Delivery a 50 centimeter flex cable, which looks like this. So this is significantly longer than the original PiCam cable. So this is an original Raspberry Pi camera, as you can see here. So we will detach the cable. I hope I don't break it. Let's see. You have to pull this little lever here. Yeah, it slides right out. And then you can remove the camera cable. And now you notice the blue side was upwards. So we attach the new cable as well with the blue side upwards. Does it fit in? It seems to fit. Right, and now we have to push the lever back in. So this is camera cable, fits in there nicely. All right, this was the first thing we need to do. Now I show you the camera case, which I already 3D printed. I downloaded it from Thingiverse. I will put the link to the specific parts into the description as well. And this consists of a back and a front part. So this is the front part with the no lenses because the cam hasn't got any lens here. And I'll try to fit it in to the case. So the print quality from the Prusa is actually quite good. So it really fits in nicely. So there is a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah, well, this works perfectly. And now we have to check the right side. So this long extension here goes over the front part where the cavity is, and then we just push it on top of the cam case. I have to make sure that this doesn't move around, and then we push it a little hard here. Right. And it fits perfectly. So I'm not quite sure if this, yeah, it should work. You see? So the camera points a bit upwards. It's not perfectly flat, but we can adjust it later on. So this was the camera case. That's not, yeah, now it fits. This was the camera case. Onto the holder. So for the holder we need a lot of parts. So there are actually some bolts, some nuts, some ball nut. I think it's called the ball nut. And we have 3 of those screw bolt thingies. You can see there is the screw part is here, and you have a nice little plate to turn it around. And then we have the holder for the x-axis. And the first thing we do is combine the holder for the x-axis with this part here. It's I think it's called female. You might guess why. This is the male-female part. It's in the description. It's MF, stands for this part. 90 degrees counter, or 90 degrees turned. So you have to use both of them to get from this to this and from here to there. So this is the actually, yeah, this looks quite nice. So you can adjust the angle up and down and a little bit into the, we'll show you if it's mounted to the printer, it's easier to see. So, and then you have to watch where the cavity for the nut is, and then you place in the nut here, and you can add the bolt here, and then you just turn it and it fits nicely and it doesn't move anywhere. And the same thing we do for the second. You can see that, right? This is the bolt, this is the bolt, this is the nut, and of course you can tighten this as well, and it stays nice in place. And now I see I did it the wrong way, because the ball nut has to point towards the printer, and so I have to do it all over again. La 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 la. So this is not scripted. I just do it live, not live, but I didn't script the path through this, so I have to do it as many times until it succeeds. And then the ball nut will be inserted here, and now you can screw it with the bolt. In the Thingiverse files, there's also a little thing you can put in here that you get the pressure from this connection here, but this is so heavy, this is so sturdy, you won't break it. You can tighten it and it will stay in place. So this is the holder, and we have to attach the cam case. As you can see here, this is the case, and there is a cavity where the ball nut shall fit in. I'm not quite sure if it will work. I tried it, but it's quite, yeah. And this is an issue with 3D printing in general. It's not perfect. It's not always so spot on that it will fit to each other. So one thing we have to do is sand this little ball a bit down. So I used a little trick to get the ball nut into the cam bag, and used my vise to press it into it. So now let's just reassemble the parts. I think you get the idea how this works. Screw it in, and then of course reattach the camera as well. Just close the lid onto the cam. Oops, it's a bit. All right, just gently push the lid onto the cam. So this is the complete assembly. As you can see, the bracket for the x-axis and the camera is mounted here with a long flex cable, and now it's time to add it to the printer. Alright, so to attach the holder to the printer, we use one of the screws which is left over from the assembly, which was actually in the spare parts. And we just put the bracket here and put the screw in here. Make sure that we get a lock on this screw. Alright, it's just a bit, it's not perfect, does not fit perfectly here. Got a slight issue. Oh, it will go in just as nicely. Put in a little more force than usually needed because it fits really tight. But now you have it. I can switch perspective. This is the cam holder for the Octopi. Stay tuned for more.